And that is why I feel that
Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. defended granting the US access to military bases in an interview with Reuters on Thursday. Marcos says it was a defensive step that would be useful if China attacked Taiwan. His comments came at the end of a 4-day visit to Washington, during which the two countries agreed to update their nearly 72-year defensive alliance.
whilst the tensions across the Taiwan Straits seem to be continuing to increase, then the safety of our Filipino nationals in Taiwan becomes of primordial importance. And so these EDCA sites will also prove to be useful for us should that terrible occurrence come about. And so, again, it's all in we have a very defensive posture.
Last month, the US and the Philippines staged their largest ever joint military drills, with more than 17,000 soldiers taking part, and which also included live fire drills at sea. The US also gained military access to 4 new military bases on the Philippines in February, 3 of which face north towards Taiwan, the self-ruled island that Beijing claims as its own territory. China has said that decision was stoking the fire of regional tension, but Marcos on Thursday sought to allay those fears.
The U.S. has not proposed any kind of action for the Philippines in terms of taking part in the defense of Taiwan or in any other affirmative action that the United States might feel they need to take. As I said, it's a defensive. It's of a defensive nature.
As tensions rise in the South China Sea, Marcos said before his trip to Washington he would press President Joe Biden about the extent of the US commitment to protect his country. His engagement and approach with the US marks a swift about-face from his Beijing-friendly predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte. Experts say the US, for its part, sees the Philippines as key to any effort to counter a Chinese invasion of Taiwan.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony.